In our other clips we've been talking about Helene's two children and their ET experiences. Now it's time to push Helene out of her comfort zone and get her to talk about some of hers. Starting with a really interesting paralysis one, which I know many people have experienced.
Okay, thanks Jude. Yes, my first remembered experience was, to start off with, my husband was watching TV in the lounge room just across the hallway from our bedroom, and I decided to go to bed a bit earlier. So when I went to bed, all of a sudden I felt this complete, my whole body was paralysed, it felt like, and I couldn't move my head, arms, legs or anything. Then I remember feeling totally petrified about it, and I was screaming and yelling out, "Gary, Gary, Gary, help me, help me." And of course he didn't hear anything, and I thought I was yelling out, but it wasn't the case. Then the next minute I felt like I was travelling, I can only explain it as warp speed, and it was like I was travelling through dimensions really, really fast, almost to the point where you could feel it going against your face. And then I blanked out, and I didn't remember anything else after that.
Talk about missing time.
Yeah, probably did and didn't know, because I thought was supposedly asleep for the rest of the night.
Right, that's right. But then to add to that, you had a very interesting conscious out-of-body experience as well. So maybe talk about that one.
Yes.
There's more dimensions to it.
Because by this stage I was starting to learn more and have a lot more confidence about my grey family, as I call them now. And I was giving myself a Reiki treatment, and I was still awake. I mean, I was probably in a part altered state, like when you meditate, but I was still awake, definitely. Then all of a sudden I felt this pain. There was 3 pains. The first one was, I think, in my stomach.
It was like a needle being put in.
Needle being put in, yes. And then the second one was in my heart chakra, and then the next one was in my, like, I could feel myself being pulled through my crown. And I felt like I had like my teacher or guide with me. And he got me to lean forward, and I had to stick my hands just behind the back of my hips. And it was like he was holding my hands at the back of my,
and standing behind you, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he told me to lean forward, like I was leaning forward like on a 45-degree angle. And the next minute we were just taking off together, once again in warp speed. And it felt like, you know how you're on a fast exhibition ride, as we call it here. I don't know what they call it. Show ride. And like your face is quivering and everything, and I couldn't open my eyes. I was going that fast. And the next minute, I felt like we'd landed on a ship, and then I walked, and it was like he was taking me on a guided tour, was how I felt now. And I went into this room that was full of babies, and it was like they were floating around. They looked like they were, I don't know, 6 months old or something. And they all had different coloured nappies.
Diapers,
diapers they were wearing. And I thought to myself, straight away, oh, they're all the different chakras. So this baby's got to learn about the blue chakra in its life, and the other one about the yellow, or whatever lessons they have to learn in life. I felt straight away that's what their lesson's going to be. And then next minute they took me away from them, and then I ended up meeting up with this man. I felt like a man, a being, I'm not sure. It was just more the energy of it than anything. And I got this huge welcome and said, "Oh, Helene, I really miss our larrikin songs." And larrikin means joyful,
good fun,
silly, crazy sort of songs.
It's an Australian slang word.
Yeah, and I felt really embarrassed, because I'm thinking, you know me, but I don't know you. I remember feeling that, but obviously that was my lower self coming through, wasn't it? You know. Then after that, I was taken on a tour around a town, or one of their towns or cities, but all their buildings were rounded, and it looked like they were made out of mud, or it was sort of built into a mountain. And there were people walking around their sort of streets, but everyone seemed happy, and it was just really peaceful. Then after that, and I was really excited, saying, "Oh, thank you so much for taking me on the tour." And the next minute we were diving into a river. And I thought, oh, well, maybe we're going to see some sea creatures or something nice. Now, normally I'm not a big fan of water. I mean, you know,
diving in head first.
Yeah, but in this state that I was in, yeah, I was just felt great. I felt protected and safe, I think. Then as we dived into the water, I ended up back in my bedroom. And I realised I was back in my bedroom, and then I could see my body lying on the bed. But I didn't want to get back in. I felt euphoric. I just felt so wonderful. And I was all excited going, no, can I just, you know, fly around a bit longer and have fun? And they're going, Helene, get back into your body. So, but in a way, then I did come back into my body. But afterwards I thought, this must be how you feel when you die. And you feel safe, you feel protected, you feel all-knowing in a way. There's no doubts, there's no judgment, you've got this power, your power back in a way. And that's helped me a lot, actually, to understand the dying process too along all this.
Yeah. The idea that we're not our physical body, our consciousness goes on after we leave the body.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And I realised during that time I'd been out to it for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And for the next 3 days, I just felt I had so much energy and I was so happy. Yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah.
And then of course there was a healing event when you had problems with your neck and didn't want to go to the doctor or the chiropractor.
Yes, I'd actually gone to
talk about.
I actually went to an acupuncturist to help me because I had sore shoulders and a sore neck. And he was giving me acupuncture and he said, oh, Helene, we'll have to do some chiropractic work next time. And I was really worried. That always worries me. I don't know why, but it just does. So as soon as I finished my acupuncture treatment, I came home and instantly gave myself a Reiki treatment to try and help the healing process work faster. And all of a sudden I felt, because with me, I feel them more than I see them. So I feel them touching me when I'm giving myself a Reiki treatment, or I feel them sometimes giving me a needle or doing different things. But I know it's for my highest good, so I welcome it. And I feel very loved too, you know. And then, anyway, I was sort of putting it out there, please heal me, I don't want to get the chiropractic work done. And the next minute I felt someone's hands at the back of my head and they turned my head left and right and it went click, click really fast and I could hear the clicking sound. And straight away I knew that they had actually healed me.
The pain was gone.
Yes, and I was so relieved. I said, oh, thank you. And they seemed so focused but also so strong and all-knowing. Like you knew you were in safe hands, you know?
Well, I'll just add in here an experience I had once when I was doing a Reiki treatment, and I was sitting at the patient's shoulders giving Reiki through the shoulder area, and she actually started leaving her body and not being into all this sort of thing. The poor lady started panicking, and the next thing she told me after the treatment was over, she felt these long, thin hands close around her ankles and take her back down into the body and stay there for the rest of the treatment, anchoring her in her body. And she was so relieved. She felt, again, she said she felt so safe and secure, and she was then able to relax. The way she described the hands and the fingers, I knew it was one of the Zeta teachers.
And how lovely that she was relaxed enough to know that she was okay. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So they'll step in and do things like that.
Yeah.
And what about the time you were upstairs working with the hybrid children? That's
yes.
a wonderful experience.
I have had a couple of experiences, but one of them, or one of the earlier ones, was I remember I felt like I was actually a doctor up there, which I'm not down here. And but I actually felt like I was a doctor, and I had healed this child and was handing the child or the baby over to the parents, and there was this great celebration on board and everyone was really happy. So
it makes sense that you would be working with hybrid children up there, and that's the reason why you've got children down here, and who are hybrid children too.
Yep.
So you're working on both levels, downstairs and upstairs, to use the terminology that we like.
Because we do, don't we? We sort of mirror, I mean, we mirror.
Mirror image, exactly.
Who we are,
yeah.
from higher self to learning self. Maybe we should call it learning self, not lower self.
That's right. And then the famous 3 knocks. Helene's heard the 3 knocks.
Yes.
That everyone talks about.
After a couple of years I started reading a few different books, and I'd heard how people had heard the 3 knocks. And I put a message out there going, well, I haven't heard the 3 knocks, could I hear the 3 knocks? Anyway, one night I went to bed, and my husband was away at the time, and all of a sudden I heard the 3 knocks. And by this stage I was very comfortable with my Zeta family, and I got really excited, and then I started singing to myself that song, Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me. And I was so excited, going, oh, where are you taking me tonight, or what are we doing? And I had trouble getting to sleep because I was excited. But then when I did go to sleep, I don't remember the next day what happened, but I knew they were around, and I did something. But what I'd like to make a point here is the fact that because I'd grown and learnt so much, I was excited to hear it, whereas it's, you know, I really feel sorry for the people that, you know, hear the 3 knocks and they're terrified, you know. And I just want to wrap my arms around them and say it's okay. But, yeah. But anyway, I hope these videos help.
Yeah, hope we can help someone out there who is in fear, just to reassure you that there really is nothing to fear with the Zetas. They love us, they cherish us, we're family to them. And they love for us to be able to acknowledge that and not be scared of them.
And it's really sad. You almost feel like there's so much disinformation, and I feel like, in a way, society down here is being very racist to the galactic family. Yeah,
particularly those ones like the Zetas who don't look human in the sense that we look upon human down here. But what people need to realise is that human form can take any form throughout the universe. There's many different, not all humans in the universe have to look like Earth humans. There's different forms out there.
And we've got to forget about the outer and look within and feel their energy. It's about feeling, isn't it, you know?
I always remember one of the Zeta teachers laughing and talking about this. He said, people down here think we look so weird, but he said, you should see some of the others out there. You know, we look really ordinary compared to some of the other beings out there in the cosmos. Yeah. So there's such a huge variety of life forms. Yeah. It's lovely.
Stop looking at the outer.
Stop looking at the outer. And I mean, that's really, to me, that's the major lesson that people down here are supposed to learn. And people often say about the Zetas, oh, why don't they appear in a more human-looking form? But that way we're not going to learn that it's not about our outer appearance. They're trying to get us to learn that it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. We're all human.
And to help us evolve.
We belong to the human family.
Yeah.
So if we can only reach a few people to help you to understand that, we're happy.
Yes.
Okay. That's it. Just about do it. Thank you.
Hope all goes well for all of you. Bye-bye.